Morning traders, Paul here with Gamma Edge. Today is Tuesday, the 10th of January. Let's get started. Pause your players here, read to the bottom. If you agree, hit that play button. Overall, the summary for today is mixed. Overall, we're weak in general or balanced. Short term, we just completed day 2 of a new long. That's our most shortest turn timer. So you want to take a look at that. Long term, we've got a mixed picture. We've got the NAS and the US Composite, which are showing more bullishness than bearishness. Our focus is generally on the ARCX, and the ARCX is kind of in this mixed state, but it is transitioning to the long side. Same thing with the Russell, and then the S&P 500, the tick SP, is literally at risk of resetting short to cash, and that could lead the markets down. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. For the SPX, the right goalpost remains at 4,100. We've seen significant growth at the 4,000 strike, which is important. When we see these upside strikes grow, that is short-term speculator positioning, and calls being opened above is a big deal. So you want to pay attention to that. To the downside, minus GEX moved up to 3,800 from 3,700. We talked about this yesterday. We had 36, 37, and 38 all vying for dominance, and the fact that we've moved up to 38 is indicative of puts being opened there. We're relatively at the same strike price or spot price, and as such, gamma is going to be more or less the same with the exception of time decay. So all of that being said, we've got really two things that are developing. We've got this 3,800 to the downside. We've got this 4,000 developing to the upside, and we could break either way. On the the bullish side, transitions have moved up. We track transitions. We think transitions are important, and the transition range has moved up relative to yesterday. When we see the entire complex shifting upward, there's only one way that happens, and that means you have calls going in and puts coming out. It's that simple. That is short-term bullish, so we want to take a look at that. That being said, we closed below transition, but transitions are very narrow right now. Because of this and the fact that we closed just below them is indicative of we could easily bridge it with any action, any stimulus from the market. We are balanced, and the biggest takeaway for all of you is that do not torture the data to tell the story you want to hear. If it's balanced and you can't infer anything, just go with that. That is an outcome, and it's a valid outcome. And I don't want people to say, well, why did you miss this, or why didn't you see this? It's because we're balanced. Literally, the market is at the fulcrum of the teeter-totter, and we could go either way with a news event. Jay Powell is talking today. We've got CPI later this week, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and on and on and on. Tuesdays are weak. And because Tuesday, Thursday sequencing is generally weak, it's just very hard to do anything with the structure we have today. So taking a look at the tick RC, I think it's important. I know I said USC here, but it's actually the RC. The long-term trend, you can see it's starting to abate. The eye can catch the flattening of what we're seeing here. So we're starting to approach a turn in the long-term timer. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. We need the bolded white CT, the cumulative tick, to close above and pull us upward. We're not seeing that. That being said, we have been below for some time. That's why this is all in a downtrend, and the fact that we're moving up into this area, even though we had a short-term crossing yesterday of the most shortest-term moving averages, we're still going to take it as a day 2. Yes, we pulled back. We absolutely understand that. We pulled right back to where we started at the beginning of the day in terms of the SPX. But you can note here that from where we started to where we ended is actually an up day. So even though price sold off, we didn't get the broad selling. And we're in an area where on a multi-day sequence, this could actually continue to the upside. So I want everyone to pay attention to that. Of course, a continued break lower and losing what we call the ribbon here, losing the bottom half of the ribbon would reset everything here and set us back to where we were here. Key levels, as I said, 38 moved up from 37. Over here on the SPX PM side, we actually have moved up from 39.50, which was yesterday. And remember where we stalled yesterday, 39.50. Can't make this stuff up. Looking down here, 38 remains the short-term PM settled area. So just be aware we've got a coincidence going on here. We've got this area here where we've got large gamma sitting here. We've got COI, POI at the 4,000 strike. It also is the same thing up here on the PM side. So looking at the combo complex, looking at the PM settled, a lot of harmony there, a lot of balance. Also note that the open, high, low, closed expected move, this is conservative, is roughly the same as it was yesterday. So if you're selling premium, you can take a look at the next few charts and see where those price levels would be. Taking a look here at the PM settled complex, we've got overall a slight put dominance. This is a change from yesterday. So we were on a call dominance side. Now we're back to the put. So we had some weakening yesterday as we pulled back. Nothing to get wrapped around the axle about. Taking a look at the structure of the PM settled complex, yellow line is where we closed. You can see what the transition is here. Nice, runway that's developing here in terms of overhead call structure. And so we're looking at this 39.20, 39.25. If we can come up into this area, positive gamma, positive deltas, this is a nice constructive area for the short term. But of course, we have to get up to that 39.20, 39.25 layer for it to happen. Continued addition of out of the money puts to the downside would be not a good thing. And you can see compared to yesterday, we have reset a little bit of the structure that we had below us. So concern is not the right word. We're watchful, mindful of what's going on, watching what's going on down here. We want to see positive deltas develop as those out of the money puts are closed, as people give up, throw in the towel. We actually see a little bit more of that going in yesterday, but and that's probably attributing to that 3,800 strike growing yesterday. So just be aware. It's a battle. It's balanced, and we'll go from there. Zero DTE for today. A couple parking spots that I'm calling out here. Relatively weak, balanced. The 39.25 level. No coincidence here, right? Just watch this 39.25 as a potential overnight parking spot. 39.15. Always looking for those overnight places. 38.50 to the downside. You can see it's really strong though. So to the downside, it would not surprise us to actually test a little bit lower and then possibly move up in the next couple days. A couple key levels that we're watching here. The 38.40 and the 38.15 really represent where the rubber band's going to get really, really stretched. We're going to need to see, for the zero DTE, we would need to see a lot of puts going in order to move us even further south, and we just don't envision it. To the north, structure is not very supportive in the deltas. The gamma structures, it's okay. We think progress northward is going to be very, very difficult, so just be aware of that. Looking at the 1 DTE, fat transition. We're right in the middle of it. It's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And so when we see this kind of structure, it's kind of, we can go anywhere, right? 39.50 to the upside. This is looking at tomorrow, right? So these are the projections of the ranges, contributions for tomorrow. And then down here to the downside at 38.05 level. Don't think we're going much below that. There's going to be some I don't want to say support, but there's going to be some liquidity areas down here that are most likely going to keep us from getting below 3,800 by tomorrow. Taking a look at the combo complex. The broad picture, like I said, we're relatively balanced. We close below this transition range. We are looking for these pockets. I've called them out. You need to train your eye to start looking for these, because these are clear areas where we could park. So if you're interested in doing broken wing butterflies or things of that nature, it helps you get a directionality out of this. Even though we've got a 2.31 open, high, low, close range on this, I do think we're biased to the upside. I think the 38.15, 38.20, I don't see us going below that as a close today. I mean, anything's possible, of course, but it's just the structure's really, really supportive to keeping us above that level. To the north, if we can get some calls going in and if we can bridge this transition, I do think we can make a run up towards 4,000 in the next day or two. So just keep that in mind, and I wouldn't be surprised we want to watch for the transition to continue to move up. I want to watch for the spot price to close, somewhere in this zone and give us a launching pad to move north. And of course, we need to see calls going in. We need to see the structure overhead turn more, in terms of the deltas, turn more positive than negative. Right now, the in-the-money puts are winning the battle in terms of the deltas, and until those folks monetize, it's going to be hard to make some progress here. Taking a look into this, it says next week. It's the balance of this week. Sorry about that mislabel there. You can see it's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And when we have a structure like this, this isn't thousands, right? This is 80 net GEX. This is almost zero. And what that is telling us is that for the balance of the week, the structure is literally at the fulcrum of the teeter-totter. And so this is what I was saying earlier. It's really hard to infer directionality. It's really hard to infer what is dominant this week. I've highlighted the 38 to the downside because that's the minus GEX for the week, 4,000 to the upside, that's the plus GEX for the week. But you can see the delta structure is mixed. It's like a broken tooth comb, back and forth. And then the gamma structure, we're right in the transition area. We're right in the middle of the transition. So equal possibility of going south, equal possibility of going north, with some key levels to watch here. So all the foregoing notwithstanding, this is a hard one to read. We need calls to go in to change the structure. We are stuck literally in neutral right now, and that's kind of the nature of the beast. Taking a look at the overall structure, 3,800 to the downside. These were all relatively balanced yesterday. I want everyone to go back and take a look and see why we moved from 37 to 38. It's no surprise. I mean, we just had a growth here of the 3,800 line, and that's downside puts coming in that are closer to spot price, and this is more or less where we were yesterday. So this is a growth of downside speculation. We also have a growth of upside speculation right here at 4,000, and you can see the 4,100 line is there, but we're getting close in magnitude to that 4,100. When we see a growth of these different lines, it means the speculators are stacking their bets short term because it's gamma. But this gives us a sense of where the market is positioned, and it makes sense to take a real good look at this. So, for services who are throwing a bunch of lines out there and whatnot, if they're not helping you understand the growth of the lines, if they're not helping you understand where you are in the transition matrix, it's going to be challenging for you to monetize it and act upon it. We tend to focus on that because we want to make this stuff actionable. So hopefully by now you're starting to get a sense of what we're looking for, and as you look at these charts, you can infer your own conclusions there. So that's it for today. Urge everyone to come into GammaEdge.us. If you have any questions or comments about today, click on the pricing tab within the website and fill out the blanks. Come on in, 14-day free trial, all the tools turned on. Get to meet the team and get to learn the tools. We think they'll be eye-opening for you. Follow us on Twitter, please, Gamma Edges with the S, and then here on YouTube, of course. Smash that like button if you like today's content. Let me know immediately that I'm on the right track and providing you what you want to see. And then, of course, follow us because Taylor and I post every day two videos, and Michael throws some stuff out there, educational stuff out there too, to help everybody. So I want to notify you when that occurs and keep you abreast of what we're seeing and how you can make this stuff actionable. So with that, bid you farewell. Make it a great Tuesday. Hope to see you in the Discord. Take care, everyone.